Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brief video, hopefully, just offering a recap on last Saturday's second Bournemouth Vigil in the Gardens, an announcement of an upcoming event, and of course, one or two thoughts of my own. Hope everybody is doing well. I hope you're all doing fine. I'm doing well. I'm doing okay, even. Thank you very much indeed. Had a productive day today. So yeah, and it still hasn't ended yet because I'm off to do something else in a moment. Yes, so cracking on, I just wanted to look back at the Vigil briefly and just talk about that for one moment. And that is, first of all, to, how can I say, not highlight it enough really in thanking those, first of all, who helped me for this Saturday's, last Saturday's, I should say, event. So in no particular order, I'd like to thank Nick for his support, both logistically and otherwise. He's been an absolute asset in all of this, I think is the only word I can use. So thank you very much, Nick, for all your help around this, and of course future events. I'll say a few up front in lieu. Also, the same thanks apply to Bev, who, without her help, it also wouldn't be possible. It's that simple, really. So thank you also, Bev, not only for being of practical use to the cause, I'm sure you won't mind me saying it like that, but more vitally and more importantly, you know, just the whole thing that you bring when you get involved and things like that. It does raise spirits. It certainly raises my mood and enhances it, and it's good. You're a good person to be around. I enjoy your company. So thank you for being involved too, and also for future ones as well. And of course, Mike, who wasn't there on Saturday, but without our conversations, him and mine, months ago, this would never have happened in the first place. He was my, I don't mind saying it, inspiration, if you like, in terms of the conversations we had, and then also, you know, looking at some of his experiences in the past and this, that, and the other. And we talked about a lot of stuff. And this idea of doing a vigil was one that we talked about intensely, because it's a great way, I think, of trying to amalgamate everybody and get them all on the same page in terms of, you know, we have all been affected by what's gone on over the last 3 years. Every one of us, whether we were jabbed, if you like, or not, whatever procedure we underwent. I'm not playing it down, but I'm also not going to play it up. Fact of the matter is, we are all in this together, and we all need each other through times to come, because we're going to be, I think, without me saying too much, because I don't have actual proof, until it happens you don't know, but there will, I'm sure, be a time where we'll be glad that we're on a relatively same page, because we're going to need each other. It's going to be difficult times ahead, is what I'm trying to say. You know, when I hear stories of, for example, the NHS being so stretched at the moment that, you know, an increase in illnesses and all the rest of it, and thus through that stretch of personnel, not good enough care for those increased illnesses or the patients with those increased illnesses, is going to lead to another massive stat that's going to be presented to us as something else. And it'll be all those games that we had 3 years ago, where they present statistics in the wrong light, and people like me come along and go, well, actually, you can look at it like that instead. Only I don't have the reach that the BBC do. And that's, of course, the giant, the monster that is the biggest perpetrator of all, because if you control the media and what people have access to seeing and reading and listening to and watching and all that, well, you're halfway there to forming people's perceptions, and certainly you're 100% there in forming narratives. And the narratives is a good link word, because that includes my friend Larry here, who I've decided to keep in the background, because why should I remove him? Just because it doesn't suit certain people, or certain people's lack of knowledge, actually, and understanding based on that lack of knowledge. Well, tough. That's tough on them. I'm keeping it there. I'm keeping him there. And that's that. If you want to know and find out why, I'm not going to bother explaining it here, because why should I justify myself on that one? If you don't know, just by way of what I talk about, that I'm not the kind of person that the mainstream media would like you have believe by liking something like Larry, an old gollywog from back in the day, or anything of the sort, you know, it's very easy to then bring people into disrepute over that, isn't it? You know. Anyway, so getting back to the Vigil and narrative, I'm not going to give anybody any, not credit, any airtime in terms of what went down with 1 or 2 disruptions. What I will do though is put the recording in the link below of the live Vigil. It's about 3 hours, well, it's over 3 hours and 10 minutes long, and then it's all there for everybody to see. You'll even see me getting a little bit triggered because, as those who know me know, I'm very, very passionate about this. And if you're not passionate about this topic, which involves life and death and humanity in general, then I have no idea where your head is. Anyway, moving on, I'd like to make an announcement, of course, and that is involving the upcoming Flat Earth Social that will commence on the 29th of August at 1900 hours. That would be 7 p.m. for those who don't possess a 24-hour clock or knowledge thereof. And we do have a guest speaker, and his name is Mark Devlin, and he'll be chatting about all sorts of interesting things. I'm not going to even divulge and even disclose anything here, but it's fascinating stuff. I've followed his stuff for a while, and you know, some of the angles I never thought of looking at, and that's coming from somebody who's passionate about music and all the rest of it. There's a little hint as to the kind of thing he looks at. Anyway, so that is the 29th of August. That is a Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. on a 24-hour clock. That would be 1900 hours. And yes, Pavilion Arms, of course, before I forget to say where, at Cemetery Junction or Wimborne Road. And the staff there are fabulous as well. We had some good interactions with the staff when Dave Murphy made his presentation on the last meetup. We had our anniversary. It was very good. Very, very good. Very rewarding all round, and a good laugh. And I think Martin Liedker enjoyed himself too. He graced us also with our presence last time. I'd like to thank him also for coming along. That was magnificent. It was a lot of fun afterwards as well. I hope we weren't too loud outside the front car park, because there's loads to talk about. You don't get to see each other that often. So when you do, you're kind of catching up. And of course, Martin has had quite a busy time in America recently, meeting up with Jason Brashears and Max Egan. And Jason Brashears, if you don't know who that is, that's Archaics. So yeah, I was picking his brains on that, of course, because I'm fascinated by it, because I want to try and increase my input in terms of content creation as well. I talked to a friend about that yesterday. Yeah, so I'd like to get more involved in that as well, because I think I'm missing out, and I don't want to sound all arrogant and stuff, but I do believe that some of the things I talk about are worth bringing to a larger audience. So I have to find ways of doing that. But that's another topic for another day. But yeah, Flat Earth Social, Tuesday the 29th of August, 7 p.m. at the Pavilion Arms in Bournemouth. Be there, or you know the rest. Of course you do. Right, I was going to say one or two other things, but you know what? I'm not going to, because talking about it validates it, doesn't it? And that is a good way of looking at a lot of things that you need to question. Just by way of talking about something, you're validating its existence in the first place. So I'm not going to give anybody, or those people who disrupted us on Saturday, any credit at all for what they stood for, pretended to stand for, and all the rest of it, because, to be absolutely honest with you, I couldn't be asked. So, on that bohemian note, I would like to say, have a good evening, enjoy the rest of it. Larry sends his regards, as does my pondering ape and the sheep next to Larry, who has no clue, but goes in a straight line anyway. So on that note, I bid you all farewell, and I will see you all soon. Some of yous sooner. Ta-ta for now. Take it easy.